What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to the Transfer View. Bright and early. You know what it is. 9 a.m. Well, it's 9:01, but we did actually start the show at 9 a.m., so you can't say we was late. You
On
can't
time.
say that. 100%. A lot to get into. Another jam-packed day, man. We've got a Ten Hag press conference to come later on. We've got previews to come at the same time. We're going to talk transfers now, and that's going to tie you over into another match day tomorrow as we take on Everton in the FA Cup at Old Trafford, man. So a lot to get into. We're going to be talking about João Felix. We're going to talk about Jack Butland. Here we go. We have signed a player. A signing.
Oh.
You know, the first thing on January the 1st was to get rid of someone. And on January the 5th, 4 days later, because we're a big club mentality and we're getting things done and we're astute in the transfer market and we're deadly and we execute deals. 4 days later, we're getting a new signing. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. De Gea wanting to finish his career at Manchester United as well. Some interesting quotes from David De Gea and a new deal on the horizon, which I would say all but sealed, all but signed, all but done. And ChoupoMoting, Eric ChoupoMoting just won't go away. Is he going to be the one? Is he going to be the one? But before all of that, let's get right to the front. Let's get the house rules in. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on our way to 128K as well. Comfortably on our way to that. So we're flying up. So please, we're tracking down that 130 mark. But let's get it in small increments. Let's get that 128K. So if you're just joining in, good morning to you on the way to work, chilling with the kids, on the school run, whatever you may be doing. Big up to you. João Felix loan still too expensive. Owen, what we got?
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone, as well. I think things are going back to reality now. So a lot of people yesterday going back to work, kids going back to school. You know, the Christmas period is over, the holiday period is over, but the transfer season is well underway. And João
Christmas
Felix
tree's still up, by the way. Actually,
yeah, mine too. That needs to come down today. Yeah, that's true. But I'm not
supposed to be bad luck, innit? Do that.
Is it? But what luck? What bad luck am I getting for keeping up? Oh, look at that Christmas tree. You know what I mean? Whatever.
But we're off topic, Owen. Stay on topic.
We're off topic. Yeah, okay. Reports from Spain suggest that Manchester United are willing to offer Atletico Madrid 4 million euros plus the full salary for João Felix. It would be a simple loan with no buy option. However, Atletico consider this far from what they want. They'd accept close to 12 to 13 million euros plus the full salary, which United are going, well, that's a massive difference in between what we're willing to offer and what you want us to offer. Now, the situation between João Felix and Atletico Madrid threatens to become more tense. Felix is determined to leave the club this month. Atletico Madrid, though, they remain calm regarding Felix's situation and do not rule out the possibility of him staying for the rest of the season. Jorge Mendes is pressing to find a solution for the player. So still, there's this massive gulf between what United would be willing to pay and what Atletico want. And to be honest, again, that sort of total package that Atletico Madrid are looking for, it's still like 20 million euros, which even I understand United have no money. And even if we were financially well off at the moment, 20 million euros for a 6-month loan to me is crazy. What do you think, Flex?
Sorry, I was on mute. I thought I was on mute. I was trying to sort out a few things in the back end, and I thought I forgot I was on mute. It's crazy. It's like you. I think you said it on a couple of shows ago. Like that's a whole player, depending on like what type of player we're trying to get. Whether you say it's a Marcus Thuram or someone a little bit younger, or if you add on like a light 10, 15 million on top of the 20, that's a player in the image that Ten Hag could probably work with long term.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't make sense. And I think with this. It's about moving on straight away to look for another target that we could get for a lot cheaper or bring in on a loan fee. But also, it is about a little bit of a waiting game as well, in terms of just say to them, not picking up the phone anymore, mate. Like, whatever, it's too much. Because basically, if you remember what David Ornstein was saying last week, it's still basically that, like all the clubs that are interested in him are saying, no chance. We ain't having him for that. You're taking the mick. So sit tight. We'll move on. We'll look at our other targets. Arsenal are going to move on and do their Mudryk thing, and we're going to move on and do our ChoupoMoting thing and do what we need to do. And then if they haven't got rid of him, because that's the thing here, they've got a player that don't want to be there. They got a player who actually wants to move. Jorge Mendes is trying to get him out, and we want him or would have him for the right price. So as long as that price is where it is. Nobody, let alone us, is going to take him. Do they want to have a player on their books who clearly doesn't want to be there and is angling for a move. I don't know. Only Atletico fans know more about that than we do, and obviously Simeone. But that's an issue that you've got a player there who doesn't want to be there. And if they need the money and they're trying to ask for this amount of money and they need it, then they get more desperate. Everyone gets more desperate towards the end of the window, whether it's us, a buying club, or whether it's a selling club as well. So I think we just leave that, walk away, don't pick up the phone, don't email back unless the email says, right, okay, about that fee. All right, let's have a chat then. What can we do here? And then you talk, because right now it's too high. It's too high.
You know what's quite interesting now? I was thinking about this. If you do a bit of maths here,
Yeah.
I know it's early to do some maths, but we're saying, or the report says, that United were willing to offer 4 million euros in a loan fee plus the full salary. Now, if you do again a bit of maths here, but bear with me, they want around sort of 12 to 13 million for a loan fee plus the full salary. Now, that's previously been reported as around 20 million euros as a total package ish. So what United are basically willing to offer is 4 million plus about 7 million in terms of his full salary. So United have kind of revealed their hand as to what they do actually have to spend in January, which is around sort of 10 million, which is around sort of 10 million euros, maybe 8 million quid, or maybe around 10 million quid ish. So that's just interesting to bear in mind when you think about other deals that could be done during the January window. That is why we're only really open to loan deals, because we've got 10, 12 million to play around with. That's about it. And they're basically saying, look, we're willing to spend all of that on João Felix, but we can't do 20, 22. We can't do anything like that. But it does open up the possibility when you talk about other people like Marcus Thuram, who could be available for 10 million. You go, well, maybe there is room in the kitty for that one. But João Felix, I think any club, to your point, even like an Arsenal, they're looking at that and they're not, struggling for money at the moment. They're planning or hoping to pay 60, 70 million for Mudryk or whatever. But at the same time, even they're going, come on, like
it's
6 months, 6 month loan, like 20 million. That's crazy. Like,
they're
as
taking
KG
the
said
piss.
a couple of shows ago, you went, that's a player.
That's
a transfer.
And it's the no obligation, because actually the no obligation to buy is good, because if it doesn't work out, if it went the wrong way, you can send him back, right? But the no obligation and walk away for nothing thing is only good if the price is low. It's not good if you spent 20 million. If you spent 20 million in 6 months, you're going, well, I don't care what it is. I'll pay an extra 10 million on top of whatever it's going to cost. Well, someone like him, he's not in his last year, is he? I think he's got 3 years left.
He's got like 3 years left. And
that's why.
Could you imagine if he came to United? Let's say he came to United, right? And one, he got injured. Say he got injured and he's out for the rest of the season. And I know that can happen. But or two, he was just a flop. He didn't play that much, didn't acclimatise, didn't work out. United would get rinsed. But everyone would go, what terrible bit of business. You signed him for like 22 million for 6 months. You just literally, that is the definition of burning through cash. That is literally 22 million for 6 months.
That's too much. And then you've also got the side of it of like, okay, well, how much money would you spend on him then? If let's say João Felix, this wasn't a loan thing, yeah? Because I think that he's available, because now it's all clicking actually. He's available for a loan because it's more attractive, because really, he could be sold in January. Why not get him sold then? He's on 3 years and you don't want to be there. Why are you loaning him? Do you know what I mean? So that already, if you loan him at this point, it makes it more attainable for clubs to get involved, because, spending, what's he going to be worth? He got bought for like 120 million a few years ago.
Well, they were saying before,
70, 80?
It's more than that. I reckon they'd be looking to minimum break even. I think, because he's still young. Because Flex, he's still young.
He's got a lot in it, and he's a good player.
And he's got time left on his contract. Yeah. So they'd be looking at that, going, you've only increased in value because you've only got better since you've come to us, and the market's increased since then. So minimum, they'd be looking to break even. That's why loan's happening, because he wants to leave now, and they're going, no one's going to buy you.
No one's going to pay that.
Million. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So if we did have a loan and he was good, because he is a good player, and Eric Ten Hag, even if he was not as good as we thought, but Eric Ten Hag thought, nah, he's the guy. I like him. I'm going to keep him, and we can, in the summer we'd have to pay like another, according to what you're basically saying, and break it at least 80 million more, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? On top of the 20 million. But if you want to give him back and you've spent north of 20 million in 6 months, it just doesn't calculate, especially when, because like you said, Arsenal are stable and set and have their budgets allocated and know exactly what direction they're going in. And even they're saying, allow that. Chelsea are literally burning through money like cash. They could do with him. They're not doing it yet. So I just think I just believe what David Ornstein said in terms of just wait. All these clubs are just going to sit tight on this. Mendes is gonna be working. He's going to be talking to Atletico, and he's going to be reporting back saying, "Listen, no one's interested in João for this amount of money. You're taking the mick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of admirers for him. Lower the price, be more reasonable, and we'll get a solution. Whether it's Man United, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's whoever. If they do lower the price, though, that's where we're in a bit of trouble, because once it comes to, like the Gakpo thing, once it comes down to a certain bit, who's the more attractive, proposition, and who puts a little bit more than what we can, because once it goes down to a reasonable price and becomes a bidding war of reasonable figures, we've still got kind of a figure we can't really go over, where your Arsenals and Chelseas or whoever wants him can probably add an extra 2 to 5 million on top to make sure they get him. If it goes down to, say, like what we're saying, like a 4 million loan fee, someone could offer 7.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or
true.
8.
That's true.
And we can't really like, oh, mate, 4's all we got.
Literally, we're checking the sofa going, like, oh, quid, I can put that in, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And like you said, I wouldn't rule out someone like Chelsea even paying a huge amount anyway, because that seems to be their transfer strategy at the moment. Their transfer strategy, by the way, is laughable, because basically their strategy is, I'm going to let every single club do their business, and then right at the end go, okay, they've offered that amount, I'm going to go in for him. That's basically the Chelsea transfer model. So I wouldn't even be shocked if come the end of the window, Chelsea got him. The only way you could say like United would be a way around it is they say like, okay, 4 million loan fee and the full wages, which is what we're willing to offer. And then an optional clause, not a mandatory one, an optional one that like, look, if this does go well and the new owners are in, then we could be able to buy him for, say, 80 million, 90 million in the summer. That would be the way sort of round it. But clearly, Atletico Madrid, whilst they're open to letting him go, they want to make a lot of money on it. And even if they sell him or they loan him, I can't for the life of me see any club with decent financial management, unless they are purely panicking and it's the last day of the window, paying that total package for a João Felix loan. I just don't see that.
Well, here's some good comments, and we'll get to the super chats as well, and member priority chats as well in the community. But Chelsea says, which is quite funny, the Felix loan is almost like Gakpo's fees. Like, it's nearly that. It's 15 million off, isn't it? Like the initial down payment for Gakpo forever, let alone for 6 months. VK says, I will reluctantly swap Big Kev for Felix, or Boy Kev for Felix. And Vegeta members, I'm just going to go through the members' chats. I say get Memphis for the 6 months and let's revisit top players in the summer. That seems like the most, reasonable thing to do. Ed says, big up Ed, always in the chat as well. Members chat priority as well. Remember, if you do join the membership, you do get your members priority chat. We're quite big on that and making sure we do that. Ed says, no more stopgaps, no loans, no 6-month deals. If we're only looking for short term, let's use our current resources. Promote Hugh Gill and McNeil, or recall Ahmad, then put him as a backup right winger, and we'll play Rashford at striker. So Ed's saying, look, just stop all this. I don't want any stopgaps. Work with what we've got, work with within, and just get through. If we fall short, we fall short, but don't upset the balance, and let's just get there. Some people do think that, Some people do think, Felix, go with what we got.
He wouldn't be a stopgap, would he? If you got Felix, he would be with the intention surely to be like, okay, we're going to keep that. We're going to look at that again in the summer, because he's not a stopgap player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with like people like I said yesterday during yesterday's transfer view. Like, if this was Football Manager, what United are doing is they're going to search all players. They're opening up filters. They're going 6 months left on contract. That's what they're doing, and they're basically going, right, can we either agree? Well, not even looking to agree a pre-contract. Take that off the list, because come the summer, it's a different situation. They're just looking at, could we buy someone for pennies on the pound, basically? And instead of it being a 6-month deal, because again, you have to remember, so with Memphis Depay, his contract's expiring with Barcelona in the summer. Why would he come to United and sign a 6-month deal? Because there's no difference to his contract there. It'd be an 18-month deal.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. And the question then becomes, you have to think somewhat long-term, because you have to look at him and say, okay, would he do a job for us now? But also, would he be a good squad player for us next season? That's kind of the...
And João Felix, look, if João Felix came and performed to a high level, he's a wicked player, man. Like, he really is. I think he's got potential to be world class. I do. I think he's that good. Especially out of that Atletico side. That's how much I rate João Felix. I think
in that side.
I think he's really good, and I think in the right environment, I think he can kick on to the next level where you go, wow, what a player. I do think that. All Elite says KG still trying to find a proper compilation for ChoupoMoting. 61 Boy Kev emoji and the KG face. And Divas member as well says Boy Kev, we are getting 61 emojis as well. Remember, you've got your KG Boy Kev emojis if you join the members chat, the membership, and some super chats. VK just comes through with a nice fist pump. Big up to you. And Marcel's Porridge with a super chat says, glad to see nobody's eating porridge this window. Yes, exactly. I mean, Marcel was some really humble in reference away from the porridge, but some really humble pie recently. And VK has another super chat. Big up VK says, the season ends on 31st of May. If we get to Europa finals, less than 5 months. The fee's way too high for Felix. Takes a few weeks for anyone to get into Ten Hag's system too. So he's saying, just leave it. You know, we've got 5 months. If we go right to the end, we've got 5 months. Just go with what we've got. And Gemini in the members priority chat says, morning lads, still got bungy in the eyes, but I'm tuned in. So a little bit under the weather there, Gemini, but big up to you as well. And Jay Ramon says, KG in the building, and Dooms Booms has just got the porridge for Marcel as well.
Yeah, KG is in the building. I can see him in the chat there as well. He's a lingerer. You know what I mean? He'll be there. He hasn't done what he did the other day when he goes late. You're late.
Yeah. Well, he says he also put Vegeta or Vegeta. What's wrong with Flex? Mad pronunciation. Well, it's all in one in the name, so wasn't sure. Wasn't sure.
Yeah.
To get KG, the grammar police. I mean, when did he become that? Yeah, Vegeta. Yeah,
Vegeta.
Yeah, Vegeta. Okay, cool. Fair enough. On to here we go. On to a new signing. On to
signing.
Medical today. Out with the old, in with the new. Dubravka gone. New keeper coming in.
Yes, forget Marcel's picture of him looking at Dubravka. He's thrown the picture away. The picture frame smashed into a million pieces because we have a new number 2 goalkeeper on the way to Old Trafford. And it's Jack Butland, because Laurie Whitwell first reported this morning. Jack Butland is to undergo a medical at Manchester United today after the club agreed a loan with Crystal Palace. Erik ten Hag wanted another number 2 after Martin Dubravka, of course, was recalled by Newcastle at the beginning of the year. Fabrizio Romano has since tweeted too, saying United are closing in on a deal to sign Jack Butland as the new backup keeper. And he has also said, here we go. Our first here we go of the January transfer window. Final details being sorted. It's going to be a 6-month loan from Crystal Palace. The medical is already scheduled. So the 3 goalkeepers will be De Gea, Butland and Heaton. This was an interesting one, Flex, because it came out of nowhere yesterday. It just went, United are in talks with Jack Butland. And then today he's having a medical today. Now, as far as I'm aware, his contract is set to expire, I think, with Palace at the end of the season. So it is one of those situations whereby it's a loan, but at the end of the season, he's going to be a free agent anyway. So I guess if all goes well, then he might end up permanently at United at a free transfer. But at the same time, I was touching on this yesterday too, that not to put a dampener on it, because I think it might be our only signing of the window, but it would be very surprising, to be honest, if Jack Butland actually plays in a United shirt. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
plays against Charlton.
It's whether
that's the one.
Yeah, but would he come straight in like that?
I think Heaton should play.
Yeah, Heaton deserved the chance. He's had to sit there while flipping Dubravka has flipping been brought in and played in them cup games, and he's and been rubbish. Like I said, Tom Heaton's better than Dubravka in my eyes, and definitely deserves to play in them games. And Jack Butland's not a bad second, third keeper. He's actually not even 30 yet. I was just looking at it because it feels like he's been around for ages. And I remember when Jack Butland, he's 29. And I remember when Jack Butland was like,
for a brief time,
like in one period, he was like, this kid's going to be like the best English keeper. When he was at like Stoke and that.
He was in the last English squad. He did drop off quite a lot, it must be said. I remember a few years ago, it might have been when he was at Stoke. He was linked to Chelsea at one point. And there was talks about him becoming Chelsea's number 2. And again, this is when he was a lot younger at the time. He might have been like sort of 25, 26, 27. And I don't know what happened in recent years. He kind of dropped off for a brief period of time. He was playing.
It's just been all loans. Yeah. I'm just looking here. It's just loads of loans into like Barnsley, Leeds and Derby in the Championship. Yeah. And not even playing full seasons. But in the Premier League, apart from one season when he was at Stoke, a couple of seasons, but mostly he was the number 1, played an awful lot of games for Stoke. And and Birmingham City in the Championship as well. But I just, like I said, in that middle period when he was at Stoke, he was really highly tipped, and it just didn't, like you said, he just dropped off. But as a, not obviously getting in at Chelsea, they've at Chelsea at Palace. He can be on the bench for us as a third choice. That's that's fine.
Do you think he's third or second? That's the question, though. Because if they're saying
he could be second, he could be second.
He could be second. He could be second.
He could be second. But
I think that's harsh on Heaton, like you said. Like,
yeah,
he's
man,
not a bad goalkeeper.
Well. He's not a bad goalkeeper. And Heaton's obviously a little bit older and been around the block a little bit longer. But I just still like him. I like Tom Heaton, man. Not like he was. He came, we've done an interview with him on tour, and he's just a good lad. He's just a nice guy. Anytime you see him, but he's a good keeper, man. He's a good keeper for what you want as a backup, So look, I don't think we need to spend too long on that. Really, Dubravka. To be fair, though, I did think of Marcel a little bit this morning, right? Because I was looking at the terminology, right, that Laurie Whitwell used and said after Dubravka was recalled, and I was like, where are we missing the trick and where are we going in too much on Marcel? Because they actually recalled him.
Yeah, Newcastle called him back. Newcastle called him. It wasn't United. It was Newcastle.
So are we not? It's not really Man United saying that he's crap, send him back. It's Newcastle saying we need him or something.
Yeah.
So was Marcel right? Is he that good?
Maybe. I mean, there was a clause, wasn't there? There was a clause in Dubravka's loan deal that was if he started a number of games for United, then it would be made permanent. And clearly, that was never ever going to happen.
That was never going to happen.
And maybe Newcastle just thought, just take him back. Maybe we want more depth. I don't know what their goalkeeping situation is like at Newcastle. But Butland's I'm happy to have Jack Butland on the bench. When they name the goalkeeper, that's fine. Yeah. If a run of games for United, I would have concerns because I have seen him, and like this happens with every goalkeeper, but make a few mistakes in the past. And also, to Marcel's point, it's not like a number 2 where I go, Jack Butland's brilliant with his feet. He's not known for being brilliant with his feet either. Again, these are the points we're trying to make when it comes to this goalkeeper.
They're just goalkeepers.
They're just number they're just number 2s, number 3s. They're just a goalkeeper. Again, Football Manager settings. They said, okay, who's available in January that we can get on loan? 6 months left on this contract. They went Jack Butland. They went, he's all right. He's English, who counts as a homegrown player with a squad registration as well. Void. Yeah. It's just to get him in. And look, it's the biggest move he's probably ever had in his career. It's the biggest club he's ever played for.
Listen, players will tell you, man, if you can play for Man United at any level, at any time of your career, if they come knocking, especially no disrespect to players like this, like an Igalo or a Tom Heaton or a Lee Grant or players like that, Jack Butland, who are maybe at a different stage of their career where they couldn't dream of anything better than just being around Manchester United on big wages as well. He'll probably get better wages coming and being number 2 or 3 for us than he would being number 1 for, like, I don't know, Bournemouth or something. I don't know.
This is what's quite interesting, though, Flex. This was reported, I think, yesterday when they were discussing the talks initially, saying, and this was from Laurie Whitwell, saying that Manchester United have considered recalling Dean Henderson from his loan at Nottingham Forest, but it's felt that the goalkeeper is best served staying there where he is playing regularly. So at one point, there was a thought of, do we bring Dean back in? And you know what Dean would say if he comes back in?
Oh, 100%.
The manager's going to want to keep me because he'll see me in training.
Yeah, you can't. Could you imagine? You can't bring him back. You can't bring him because that just gives that just puts us back to the problem that we had when he was here and then he gave the interview, moaning at us. So no, no, that couldn't have happened. Smash the like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are just about to get to 1,000 watching live and we are at 113 likes. You know what to do. And all that Jack Butland talk moves nicely into the De Gea talk. New deal. Yes. Incoming and some interesting quotes, man. I read the quotes and I was like, you know what? Bloody hell.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The De Gea situation is ever evolving because just when you think United are looking at possible long-term replacements and doing their due diligence, which I think they are, it was reported by James Ducker from the Telegraph yesterday that David De Gea is due to sign a new deal at Manchester United on reduced terms after signalling his willingness to accept a cut in his current £375,000 a week wages to prolong his stay at the club. Now, as you mentioned, De Gea did an interview recently. He was asked about the contract negotiations, his willingness to end his career at United. And when asked if he hopes to finish his career at the club, De Gea said, quote, "I hope so. I was saying this is my club. I've been here many, many years, and it's a huge honor to be here. I'm so happy here. I'm very relaxed regarding the contract negotiations, just focused on performing as best as I can." So coming up really strong there, saying, look, I hope to finish my career here. This is my club, and it's funny how these things work out when it comes to timing, isn't it? Because I feel like just now, and that whole the De Gea distribution thing, it's never going to go away. But I do feel there's a crack. I do feel there's a little crack in the armor recently, because I think against the game we had the other day at Old Trafford, who did we play? I forgot.
Bournemouth.
Yeah. When we played Bournemouth at Old.
Who did we play? I forgot.
Yeah. Even Marcel was saying afterwards, he was going, "Hey, De Gea's distribution was all right." And it doesn't happen overnight. If you're going to try and get someone to improve on something that they're not that good at, it's not going to happen immediately. But now that we're however many months into the season, you would actually, his starting position has got better. His passing has got better. A couple of, with that slick pitch against Bournemouth as well, a couple of the passes back into him were not easy balls to deal with as well. Took a touch, dealt with it. And maybe, just maybe, some people are starting to realize now, actually, you know what? Not only is he making those saves, but it could be a lot worse. If we get a replacement that's good with their feet, a couple of those shots would have gone in against Bournemouth.
Here's one
making those saves.
100%. The shot stopping thing is that's what we're saying. I think the guy afterwards, the guy from America, was really funny. I just want to keep it to safe shots. That just be good at that. But here's one for you, right? Because when you deep this whole, you need to be good with your feet and all this stuff, right? A lot of people focus on just the keeper, right? So are they able to hit it on the half volley and zing it 80 yards to someone's feet? They concentrate on that bit of it. And not a lot enough is spoken about in terms of a keeper being more competent with their feet and doing things differently. Not a lot is spoken about the actual style of the team and the options that the keeper has to make it easier for them to actually play quick passes. So, for instance, we can praise David De Gea for making them passes. I think he made one swooping one out to Luke Shaw, one kind of fizzed into him, and he kind of just hit it first time. And then Luke Shaw actually takes a bad touch, and then we lose it, but it wasn't De Gea's fault. But the reason why David De Gea was able to do that is one of two things. One, the team's playing in a way where now teams think twice about going to press us. So that's the first thing, because the team plays in a different way. Hence why, so that means that the goalkeeper will now have more time to make his decisions. And also, the options that are now available to the keeper when the ball's on his way to him, or when he has his ball at his feet, in terms of the system of where the players go and where they move to in unison, make it so that there's very deliberate options for a keeper to have. So ones you can say, yeah, the execution needs to be there. And that's really far left. That's out your hands, volley on the break. Everyone's thinking of that type of distribution, elite. When Alisson sets up, what's his name, Salah, right? Yeah. Things like that. That people
flies out. Slice kick.
Yeah. So people think automatically distribution is that, but they don't think of the normal things of just keeping the ball recycling. As long as there's options and there's time and space to do it. De Gea's not a thicko. He's got 2 feet. He can play. He's played football for a long time. He's an experienced goalkeeper. If you give him new options on the ball and the team plays in a different way, plus you ask him, be 10 yards further forward, just be a bit more proactive off your line, just be a little bit higher up, because we're going to have Varane and Martinez camped in their half. So I need you on more than on the edge of your box in case something happens. Then all of a sudden, it's not even that David De Gea has improved. David De Gea is not playing passes that I've never seen him play before. I think David De Gea has better options and more time and a system whereby he's more comfortable and confident in playing them passes. I don't think we're actually seeing De Gea doing amazing.
I think it's confidence. And again, when you look at the scenario where you go, actually, okay, so a player that would have been here at this point, if he signs a contract at the end of the season, he'd have been there, 11 years, something like that, 12 years, came in 2011. 2012, around that period of time. So he's been here over a decade. So he's got the experience. He can deal with the pressure of being a United goalkeeper. He makes good saves. He wins us games. Let's be honest. Yes, we won 3-0 against Bournemouth, but he won us that game too with the saves he was making. Could have easily been at 1.21, 2-2, maybe even 3-3 with some of the saves he was making in that game. And his distribution, like you said, he's becoming more confident with it because he's getting more time and he's got more options. And he's staying on a reduced wage. You'd go, actually, maybe that just solves all the issues right there, And again, better the devil you know. Yes, you can get a goalkeeper in that, like you said, might do those, fly out to the edge of the box and those slice kicks, and you go, it's a great it's a great kick. It landed right to Marcus Rashford's feet. Great. But at the same time, he's picking the ball out of the back of the net because he couldn't make the saves that De Gea made. I know which one I'd rather want. And maybe if we do get a new goalkeeper, maybe if we do get someone that's better with their feet, I'll tell you what, a bit like the Casemiro situation, you go, I was so wrong, I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
but at the moment, we're still conceding chances. And again, the primary focus of the keeper, in my opinion, is to keep the ball out of the net. And that's what De Gea did. And it's not as if he's like literally standing there and every time he touches the ball, with his feet, it's going out for throw-ins or
exactly. That's how people are acting.
That happened at Brentford this season. When has that happened since, when it was like, that was bad from De Gea in terms of passing out, in terms of it costs
there's going to be one or two, of course, but
it happens to every keeper.
Yeah, exactly. And the main thing is, I'm not saying that again down the line when Eric Ten Hag wants to, when he wants to move him on, and when he wants to go in a different direction. Even if it was now, even if Ten Hag wanted to do it now, I wouldn't be against it. But it has to be for the right type of keeper. And I think the noises that we're seeing, we all say we trust in Ten Hag, or we believe in the manager and all this. Well, I'll tell you what, he rates David De Gea. He does not see David De Gea's distribution as a major issue now. Clearly not, because he's about to get a new deal and he's going to be number one next season. If that changes, then we were wrong. But the way I read the situation and how I see the confidence that he has in him, and also, like I did predict, that we've got so much other things to work on before getting to De Gea, which some people believe it's the other way around. If someone said to me at Sky the other day, they said a stat, he's a Man United fan, because he disagrees with me. He was like, De Gea just, I don't like him. We need to get, he was like, we are really low down in the top. I can't remember what number it was, but we're low down for how high the back line is. I can't remember what the stat is. I
remember Cam said that during the full view, and he said that, we have the lowest average position.
I don't care.
That's because of De Gea. But at the same time, you'd go, but we're winning games. It's working.
And I've seen us, when the time's right, we're keeping teams penned in. We're controlling the game. We're creating chances. The team's doing better than it was last year. And we're knocking on the door for third, maybe second. What? I don't care that David De Gea's got the lowest fee. Look at the saves he's making. What's his save thing? I want to see that.
And also, since we've come back from the World Cup, Flex, how many goals have we conceded?
Exactly. No, none.
How many goals have we conceded?
Yeah.
And when you start going, but defenders are better in front of him. How many different pairs of centre backs has he had in front of him?
Exactly. It was David De Gea who made us get the clean sheet the other day. Yeah,
and same against Bournemouth, same against Wolves. He made those saves to make sure that we got, same against Forest as well. The clean sheet was partially on him because he's making those saves. And in terms of centre-back combinations he's played in front of him, he's had Casemiro and Varane. He's had Shaw and Varane. He's had Lindelof and Maguire. So... when are people going to actually say, it was because he's got Martinez and Varane in front of him? Well, no, actually, because that wasn't always the case in these run of games. And we kept the clean sheet because he made saves. So you can talk about starting positioning, but you can also talk about the fact that we're not conceding that many goals. I keep saying this, people go, our goal difference is so terrible. It's not really because of our defense. Half the goals, we've conceded 20 goals this season in the Premier League, right? 20. Half of them were in 2 games. Literally City and Brentford. Half our goals were in 2. We're in 2 games. The reason our goal difference is so low,
that's a big point, that is,
The reason our goal difference is low is because we don't score that many goals. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not conceding. And again, you can say defense, totally justified to praise the back four. You have to. Back four is so much better. But also the goalkeeper's a part of that because he's also keeping the ball out the back of the net. 100%. So in terms of, and again, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Yeah, agreed. Let me get through some members' chats in the community. Emma says, no matter what, we will still need David De Gea. Hey, it would help the transition with a new keeper, as the pressure they'll face playing for us is something they probably haven't experienced before. Exactly. You kind of keep De Gea around. And actually, if he loves the club as much as if he loves the club as much as he says he does, which I think he does, he may even, if he has a couple more years at being number one, when that new kid does start coming, he may be happy to still be around and just play when he plays and nurture that guy and just, like he said, see his career out at Manchester United.
Yeah,
something like that. You don't know.
375, and this is where United are, right? Because they go, look,
yes,
375k for a keeper, that is ridiculous. And I agree with what Marcel's saying by that point. If you have a keeper that's on 375k a week, they have to be able to do everything and be the best because you're the highest paid keeper in the world at that point, right? And De Gea for how great he is, he's not worth that, because not sure any keeper's worth that. So United are right to get that number down, but I don't think that's like a detriment to him just because you're terrible. It's
he's saying fine, I'll stay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
I'll reduce the terms.
Exactly.
Kristen says he won't sign a new reduced contract until the last week of his current contract. Not necessarily, because
he can sign it. He can sign it.
Good, get him off that money quick.
He could sign it. He could sign it now, and it could come into effect in the last week of his contract. You can get a deal to start at this date.
Yeah, so exactly. I'm sure they come with that. And Show Rahman says, so many balls over the top a progressive keeper deals with. So I think he's saying what David Gea needs to be more progressive, he's saying, or you saying he does deal with that a bit better? Let me know, Show Rahman, in the chat. Here you go. Show Rahman also says, coming for crosses and sweeping makes a massive difference to the team. Again, are you saying David Gea doesn't do that and that's why we do need it? Or are you saying you're comfortable with him as well? But me personally, to finish off with the Gea thing, I think it's a positive thing. I've got no problem with him carrying on in the immediate future. Definitely next year anyway. And then and then you just look at it. We'll see what sort of deal it is in terms of how long it is.
I would just say we're not conceding. That would be my biggest thing.
Until there's a bigger problem, I'm fine.
If you're looking at United, you would go, they are actively not conceding goals this season. Again, half of our goals in the Premier League were in 2 games. They're capitulations. Apart from that, it's not even like at an average of 1 a game. Like, that is a massive positive for United. And why, after spending a season building that up, would you then go, got to tinker with that?
Exactly. Well, Vegeta says we just new shiny toys at United. That's our problem. We just want someone new. And Show Rahman does confirm. Show Rahman says, yes, I'm saying De Gea doesn't do it. So it's always quite mixed here on United View in the community, to be fair, about David De Gea. I can only speak for me, and obviously Owen can only speak for himself. But I think me and Owen definitely agree that we're all right with David De Gea at the moment. I much rather see improvements across the team in other places before we get back there. Super chat from Dooms Booms, UV member for 6 months as well. Love that. Says, big up Flex, KG, Owen, and the rest of the team. One of the very few United-centric YouTube channels that I follow. Onwards and upwards. Definitely onwards and upwards in 2023. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to be back in the studio next week, I believe. We've got loads of stuff going on. Can't wait to get back in the studio, actually. We've been so busy. Everyone's been away with family. Owen's been away. KG's been with family. I've been with family, been away. It's just sometimes content is great and we make sure that we do it. But, family's important as well, and your health and well-being as well. So we're going to be back in there. New shows coming as well. So, yeah, United View 2023 is going to be a really, really good place to be at, man. No Gas TV, thank you for the contribution. And another contribution as well from No Gas TV. No comment, but just contribution. So big up to No Gas TV and big up to all you guys in the chat as well. Nearly 1,300 people watching, which is absolutely dope. Need not even 200 likes. Come on, guys, let's do it. You know what I'm going to do at every topic change. That's what we do. We have a little reminder. Come on, we have a little reminder.
Exactly.
Owen, ChoupoMoting.
Chupo, give the moting, as KG would say. Wow. This comes from Sky Sports in Germany saying, Manchester United have great interest in signing Maxim ChoupoMoting, preferably this month. His contract at Bayern Munich, you guessed it, expires this year, but he's very comfortable in Munich. Now, before we get into this one, Flex, I was watching Sky Sports last night, listening to our friend Damesh, and he said what I think everyone said. He goes, the words I'm getting is, this might be agent-driven. I went, might be agent-driven. Yeah. How many times in the summer transfer window did it was like, ChoupoMoting's agent he's shameless, because all the time it comes out, very close to signing for Manchester United. Very, very close. Oh, Man United really want Maxim ChoupoMoting. And look, the thing is, you can't rule it out. You can't rule it out because it is 6 months left. It clearly is the profile of a player in terms of availability that we're looking for. And for a guy that at one point was at Stoke to then go, where did he go? PSG and then Bayern Munich. Who knows? This agent's capable of anything. Do you think that's how he got those moves to PSG and Bayern Munich? PSG are very interested.
Top.
They went, okay, we'll get him.
Top agent. His agent, honestly. There was another guy who had a really good agent. Always used to get good moves. What was his name again? Was it?
I remember
Decor, not Decor. Olivier Decor. Was it Decor?
I remember when Julian Faubert was at West Ham, and then suddenly they went, Julian Faubert has signed for Real Madrid on loan for the rest of the season. They went, what?
There was a geezer from West Ham, mixed race guy, and he kept getting moves as well. Is it Decore or Decor? I think it could. I can't remember. Someone in the chat will know. I love little trivia questions like this. And I remember when was it Gravison? Thomas Gravison went to Real Madrid.
Thomas Gravison went to Real Madrid,
Yeah.
and then he got in a fight with Robinho.
Yeah, I remember his bald head just running around the Bernabeu. Just Thomas Gravison. You get some peculiar ones where you think, bloody hell, they're agents on stuff. If in the chat, if Olivier Decor, it was. What did he go Real Madrid, or did he just after West Ham? I think he just went somewhere really good, and I was like, bloody hell, how's he gone there? You do get that sometimes. You do. You get players who end up having really good careers. I mean, look at you promoting, Premier League at Stoke, Bayern Munich, PSG, playing it and scored in big Champions League games, by the way. There's been times where Bayern Munich were struggling and he come up with big goals. I think it was the season before last. I remember laughing, going, bloody, he's actually scoring big goals for them.
Would you have him over no one? If the option was nobody, or you get ChoupoMoting for... But again, this is the kind of thing. They go, he's got 6 months left on his contract at Bayern Munich. Okay. But then even if we were to sign him, then that's 18 months of him at United. It's not a loan. It's not. No. It's not like the Jack Butland situation where it's like, oh, we don't even really want him, so you can have him on loan, and then maybe you sign him on a free transfer in the summer. It's not like that.
Do you know what, Owen? I'm kind of going to go back to, and it's not about Ronaldo because he's left now, and that is what it is. It is what it is. But what my thoughts were at the time, I remember saying I'd rather Ronaldo. This was before all this happened. I'd rather Ronaldo leave and the team's just harmonious and we don't get no one versus keep Ronaldo unhappy. So I know the keep Ronaldo unhappy bit's gone, but I still back up on what I say of like, I don't want to force this thing though. I do believe in Ten Hag in terms of it does have to be the right guy, even on loan. Like I don't just want just anybody just because they're on loan. I know like it sounds sensible because it's like, well, just replace a body with a body. I mean, when it gets to, would you rather bring on Elanga or just somebody else who's a striker, just fling him on? I get that. But also, it isn't just as easy as that. We think as fans it's just a match day. Like when it gets to the 75th minute and you have to bring on Elanga versus the ChoupoMoting, we think of that. But what we sometimes forget is actually what it means in the team. And what it means with your progress, what it means in training, what it means in the cafeteria, what it means in the gym, what it means in rehab. Like, what do you know what I mean? It's more than that. When you bring in somebody and it eats out your budget as well, you have to pay this guy a lot of money, even though it's for a short term. I just think it can sometimes do more harm than good. And I'm happy at taking hits. If we fell short because of it, because then the team's in a better position. Just like when he took out Marcus Rashford. If we would have lost that game and Marcus Rashford didn't come on, or there was a bigger punishment, or he wasn't in the squad for that game because of it, the team would still be better in the long run, even if we didn't get 3 points in the short run, And I've just, with how bad we've been, I'm still scarred. I just never forget how bad it was. It was this year. This year.
This time
we've just gone into a new year. But you know what I mean? In the calendar year of 22, when we had sort of the second half with Eric Ten Hag, which was good. That May, up until May, from January to May, was horrendous, and all of it before. Really, really bad.
Chaos.
Chaos.
Not even just on the pitch, off of it. Every day.
Every
aspect.
You
have to take a step back. Every day there was a different story about just wildness or, factions.
We were doing shows, Owen. We had to do. Let's just talk about this for a minute, actually.
Yeah.
Because we had to do shows because that was the news. That was what was going on at the club. We had to do shows of Maguire hits back, Fred squashes lies, Rashford hits out at fan. Like that's what was going on
in the dark.
Don't like training in the dark, whether that's ever true or not. Rangnick discontent continues. Where next? United rock bottom. Amount of times I've done, I remember standing outside Everton last year, rock bottom, can't get any worse. I remember saying we helped them stay up. Games at Watford, and when we got absolutely smashed and Ollie got sacked. Leicester smashed 4-1, whatever it was. Dark, like Just Kevin says there. Just Kevin, dark times. So I'm more interested in building something that's sustainable, and if that means Eric Ten Hag goes, you know what? If we can't get anyone of decent quality, then just leave it. I'll work with what I've got for 5 months. I can't remember who said it earlier in the chat. They said it's 5 months if we get to the Europa League final. Just that team is harmonious. That team is together. That team is fighting. That team's in good form. And if we come out the right end of City and Arsenal, that would be huge. because we've been in that middle period where
Can
since
I ask
Man
you about
City,
this actually?
yeah,
Can I have? Because I haven't had the opportunity actually. Even off air, I haven't even spoken to you. I don't think about this. So have you seen what KG was saying after the game?
I saw when he said we're in a title race. Yeah.
Yes. So I asked him, "Are we in a title race?" And his response was 100%. 100% we're in a title
We're
race.
not 100%.
And his rationale was, if Arsenal are, why aren't we? And my response was, well, Arsenal top of the league. That's maybe why, they've got more points than us. But if, so I think you're with myself and a lot of other people saying we're not in a title race at the moment. But if we got to the end of January and we got not even 6 points, let's say 4. Say we got
just
4
being
points
and around it,
that we beat City at home and drew of Arsenal away. Then would you say, I tell you what, we might actually be involved?
Do you know what, Owen? I'll be honest with you, right? And I'll be honest with all you guys. I don't completely laugh and ridicule like people like KG or people who might be feeling really optimistic to say, do you know what? We're not far off these people that everyone's saying are in the title race, like City, maybe even Newcastle. We're right there with them, near enough. Point off. And I tell you what, if Chelsea beat City today, which Chelsea have been crap, but at the Bridge in a big game, you just never know. Or if City draw, you just never know, do you? You know, and then our next game, City, and we beat them, we'd go above them, wouldn't we?
And this is a crazy stat too.
You know, you can't.
Since if you take out those first 2 games, which I say feel like a lifetime ago, and it doesn't even feel real. If you take out those first 2 games of this season, Brighton and Brentford, since then only one team has got more points than us. That would be Arsenal. I think that's 2 more points than us. Since then, we are the second most informed team in the league.
There you go.
We've only lost 1 game since then, and that was City away. And you sort of go, actually, our form is really because I agree with you. I don't think we're in a title race, but our form since then has been title race-esque form.
Yeah,
and if we do get to January and we're in a good position, you've got to tell you what, we just played top 2 of the league.
Yeah. It's all, but this is why it's all about game by game, because, you know, the next game, City, Spurs are back on our tails because they somehow managed to win 4-0 yesterday. I couldn't believe that. You know, so they're 2 points behind us, but we've got our game in hand, but we've got to play City next before they play, and we'll both be on 18 games. If we don't win, City, you know, but their next game's Arsenal. So it is, I think you do your head in trying to go this week to that week to this week. That's why I'm on a game by game, but I wouldn't be against like squashing people's optimism, because actually, again, I'll be a hypocrite to say that, back to how bad we were last year. It's just enjoyable. Enjoy it. Enjoy that we're looking forward to seeing the team play. Enjoy that we've got a manager that we love. Enjoy that we've got a manager who's improving us at a rapid rate. Enjoy that we can actually have some people can come to the table and say, well, no, I think if we beat City, we are in the Champions in the Premier League title race. Enjoy that. Enjoy that, because it's been absolutely disgusting how bad we were. So I don't want to be on here curbing people's expectations and bringing them down. That's, you know, we've been so bad. We should be able to smile. We should be able to be happy. We should be able to dream. We should be able to dream. So my answer to what you were asking me is, do I personally think we're in the title race? Not yet. I don't think that. Can it change to where it gets where you go, I'll tell you what, because Arsenal are like 9 points ahead of us, aren't they? Something like that. That's 3 losses. You know, things change, and one of them losses could be against
City
us.
Twice.
They've got to play City twice, and we're not even halfway through the season yet, are we? Or are we now? Are we still not halfway through?
I'm not sure yet. And I think just the end of January is going to be a real good time to evaluate that question. I don't think, like I said, right now you'd say no, but you could put, to your point, there is a little asterisk that says that says, actually, you know what? Ask us in a couple of weeks' time, because it might look different. And to be honest, even if we say we lost both games, as I said before, obviously it'd be disappointing, but that isn't the end of the world, because you go, we've played the top 2 twice already this season. That's over and done with. And even if you look down, which I'm not very keen on, but if you look down at the moment, you say,
I do that a lot.
How many points are we ahead of? You know, we've got a good cushion between 5th and us at this point. I think obviously Spurs won last night, but you know, at the beginning of the season, we were saying, I tell you what, if we get in top 4, that'd be really, really good for us. Now we're very firmly in that race.
That's still my aim. That's still my aim. Just secure that. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and lose. I was saying 5th at best.
Yeah.
You know, I was genuinely saying 5th at best because of how bad we were. So the fact that we've managed to exploit the fact that Chelsea are crap, Spurs are crap, and Liverpool are crap this year, and we've taken the ascendancy, and wow, look what Newcastle have done. No one expected this. They expected them to do well, challenge the top 6 and 7, but not genuinely like, if they get their act together and keep winning, they could be in the title race too. Can't laugh at them. They're the only team to stop Arsenal scoring at home this year.
They've only lost once.
They've only lost
one
once.
game.
So they've lost the same amount as Arsenal. So, you know, you can't discount them. And they've got no Europe. They're just focusing on the Premier League. You know, the cup run's all right for them. But, you know, so look, I'm just taking it game by game. I'm happy that we're doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing us play. I've got an era of confidence. I done a prediction in the car the other day.
Yeah.
I said 2-0.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like I think we'll win 2-0. You know what I mean? And no one's even in the comments saying, oh, don't do that. It's like, yeah, you can say that. You know, after the games, it's really nice to speak to people. And yeah, we're beating the teams that we should beat on paper.
It's
but
a good
again,
run of games,
it's a good run of games.
But
But it's the journey.
in front of you.
We
That's
weren't doing it before.
That's literally it.
We weren't doing it before. Before it was the other way around. We might have that amazing result against City and beat them and that, but we weren't taking care of Bournemouth at home or Fulham at home or Brentford at home or, you know, and I'm not being disrespectful to those teams. They can beat you on any day, but that's more testament to us. Those teams can beat you on any day unless you're at it. And we're dispatching of those teams 3-0s. Do you know what I mean?
We beat Bournemouth with, let's face it, an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back four. That was Ole's back four. And we you know, also could have conceded, David De Gea doing David De Gea things, but our point this season has also been, the problem is if we have to rotate, we'll probably drop points. We rotated. Yeah. There was 4 changes Ten Hag made, and we still won that game 3-0. It's the perfect game to rotate, Bournemouth at home. And I see the comments when they go, yeah, we can't play that back four against City and Arsenal, but we won't. We won't play that back four against City and Arsenal.
No, we won't. It'll be, it would definitely be, I'll be staggered if it was Lindelof and Maguire. There'd have to be something wrong with Martinez, I think. Yeah, and the fact that he brought Martinez on near the end, even against, I think, FA Cup, I think he'll get some minutes in their legs then.
Yeah, and Dallow's back as well. So even
that whole start back them. Because then what is it?
Change.
It's that and then Charlton and then the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So really against Charlton, he might change it back again. But yeah, he might continuity though. He might want them to just, might want Martinez and Varane to just keep that. But then
I'm not sure.
Varane shouldn't be playing against Charlton.
The City game too. It's a
Saturday
early kickoff as well, and I just think it might be a bit too close. You might think, you know what,
100%, mate. Lindelof and Maguire couldn't, like you know, said we just won 3-0 with them playing. We can't act like we've never won a game with them. Against, I'll tell you now, the back four against Charlton has to be Malacia, Lindelof, Maguire, Bissaka.
Yeah,
it
does.
It does. Already. Exactly. And then you play against Everton. You play our strongest team. First round of the FA Cup, third round. Although Everton are in dire straits, they know another loss probably gets Lampard sacked. You don't know; they could run around like madmen. We can say that they're not good and they're terrible, and it should be an easy win, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. Well, this is a team that their last away game they just got a draw at City. How did that happen?
Yeah, and let's face it as well. Going into that City game, if we go out of 2 cup competitions, the dynamic and the perception completely changes.
That can't happen.
That would completely change. They go United, they were having a great bit of fun, but they went out of the FA Cup, they went out of the Carabao Cup. Yeah. One of them was to Charlton, one of them was to Everton, who are struggling too. You go, oh, actually, that momentum we had has just completely evaporated, disappeared. Exactly. Am I as confident going to play City at home? Probably not 100%. After that happens. So that's why the continuity is important.
Versus, you know, the confidence that it does build, even though you could argue that it's a struggling Everton side and a team that's in the Championship, to win both of them. And then that's, you know, in all competitions, that's going to be like, how many games? I lose track. Is it like 6 games?
7. It's like, I think it's like 6 or 7 wins at home in a row. And
then you add the Wolves
game. Yeah, it's positive.
And then you add Fulham into that because just before, and then we put it right against Villa before that in the Carabao Cup because before that we lost. So if you go to, where did we put it right? Was it, we got smashed by Villa, then we played Villa again and then won.
Yeah.
Then we played Fulham and won in the last minute, and then it was the break, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Because even in all comps or something like that, I think it's like 1 defeat in like 16 or something like that. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is what happened. So yeah, exactly. We beat West Ham 1-0. Like I remember David De Gea was pulling off big saves in that game because that was a close game.
Yeah, proper.
Then we got smashed by Villa. Then a few days later, we beat Villa back, and even that was a close game. It got to like 2-2, didn't it? And then we took it away from them. Then we won against Fulham in the last minute. Then it was the break. Then we come out of the break. Forget Burnley. That's a different cup game. But we beat Forest. We beat Wolves away. We beat Bournemouth. So then if you add the 2 cup competitions into that, it's a lot of wins, man. It's a lot of wins back to back, which just builds confidence. And if you add City, if we beat City, oh my God. But you know what? I will say, it's not judge, it's not jinx. I don't care. I just feel positive. We can beat them 100%.
Yeah, and I think again the biggest compliment
100%.
the biggest compliment to us is that the opponent knows that we can beat them too. If they
Yeah.
played us last season, when City came to Old Trafford, they toyed with
Oh,
us, they
oh my
knew.
God.
They
And
knew.
that was the 2-0 one that felt like 8-0.
Remember when Kevin De Bruyne said he didn't even have to say anything. We changed it 2 minutes
They
before
didn't make
kickoff,
no
'cause we
subs.
knew.
Remember,
No,
Pep didn't make
exactly.
no subs.
Exactly, and Kevin De Bruyne said
Nah.
it was easy. It was like a training session. And even when we played Arsenal at the Emirates last season, going into it, we were like, we're going to lose. I remember you doing the match preview of
Yeah.
Robbie being like, we're bad. We're really, really
100%.
bad.
Yeah, and that was
they
what
beat us.
happened.
And Arsenal knew that they were probably going to beat us. The difference now is that going into those games, of course, they'd be saying, oh, if we play our best, we think we can beat them. But they'll be like, I tell you what, United are good at the moment.
Yeah, they're just
It's going to
actually
be
a
a
good
game.
team.
And that's
And you
the
know,
biggest compliment to
yeah,
us.
100%. And actually, the big games at home this season, obviously, we've won all of them. But also the atmosphere and the attitude from the players has been spot on. Arsenal is a little bit of a different case because Arsenal are a very good team. You know, they did outplay us a lot in terms of their system, but we were comfortable in our tactics.
We were smarter. We were more acute. Ten Hag outdid Arteta that day.
Exactly, because we knew what to do against what they were going to do, and we executed it well. But they played better football than us, but we had a better plan than them. But going to Arsenal this time will be different. It will be different. They will know
we'll have to
more
manage.
about
We'll have
that.
to manage. Like you've seen the recent games at the Emirates. The atmosphere has been really good
they
there.
Come on you
that's going to be difficult to manage.
Yeah. Oh, they're on top. They're progressive. You know, they expect to score. You know, they create a lot of chances. And you look at what Newcastle did. You know, slowing the game down, being a bit horrible. We're gonna have to be really streetwise in that game. But we won't be like Newcastle because we believe we can go there and win. And we will get Rashford on the run. We will get, you know, Casemiro impacting on the game and Bruno doing things, and we will. So yeah, we're skipping a little bit too far ahead because I kind of can't wait for that game. But I'm dreading it, but I'm not at the same time.
But we've got to get to that point positively first. You've got to do that work first to get there. You know what I mean? And then
Everton tomorrow.
So if we get to that game, having a string of positive results, and that game becomes even bigger than it already is. But to the point, you've got to get there first.
And do you know what else as well, Owen? Before we wrap up, the good thing is that we've put ourselves in such a good position that a loss is not the end of the world. I know you shouldn't be thinking about a loss. You should think of a win. But we're in such a good position. Okay, well, if we drew against City and lost against Arsenal, we go again. It's fine. It's not the end of the world.
And it's the end of January. You've played the top two teams twice. And when you want, you know, it's going to sound disrespectful, but in like April, May, you want teams like maybe at the, you know, that you're expected to beat, because that's when you really need to win those games. That's when it comes down to everyone starts dropping points. And I'd much rather play the teams that we're expected to beat. Yes, you could say second half of the season going away to like a Bournemouth, they might be fighting for their lives. That's a difficult game. I understand that. But at the same time, I'd much rather get those bigger games out of the way at this time of the year. And then again, we can focus on other things. So there's plenty to be positive about United at the moment. Like I keep saying, we are good.
Yeah, exactly. Just quickly, I'll just look at the table. I know there's been games played, and you know Chelsea a couple games behind or some, and one game, but they've slipped down to 10th.
And again, the scrutiny. If that was us, and we'd spent the amount, I know we spent a lot in the summer, but if we spent like Todd Boehly amounts of money, we would be. Oh, could you imagine the coverage?
Yeah, it's mad.
It'd be ridiculous. And even now, they're still spending money. They're still buying more centre backs. How many have they got?
They're just what they're doing is planning for a long-term thing and basically saying let's write off this season because you can't spend all this money on players that would actually be good for Graham Potter. If you look at Badia Shields, if you look at Enzo Fernandez, if you look, you know, they're getting Nkunku, you know, the team will be good. They're getting good players that we'll have. But if they finish 7th or 8th, you go, well, what is it? And sack the manager, then that's worse because then they're going to go and use. So I'm saying they got to stick with Potter no matter what. And just write off the season.
Imagine they spend it would be with Badia and stuff. It'll be over 300 million this summer. Imagine 100%. This season rather they spend over 300 million, and imagine they didn't even get into Europe.
100%.
That would be
embarrassing. Then they have to make sure they come back strong next year with Potter with a whole transfer window, whole pre-season.
Another one.
Because January's not really. It's in the middle of the season. They got to stick with him. You can't sack him. I'm saying because then not after spending all their money for them type of players, all youngsters. Going to be coming up in the game. But anyway, that's just a little laugh at Chelsea. We are out of here, guys. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Remember, later on today, is it 4:30, Owen? The presser?
4:30 press conference, yes.
So we will be live straight after that, covering that, Owen and myself. And we'll do a little bit of a preview for the Everton game as well. We'll see what Derek Ten Hag has to say about team news. I know Anthony's back in training as well after missing that game against Bournemouth the other day. So that's good to see. Maybe someone might ask him about Jadon Sancho, how he's doing on his individual training program as well. So yeah, interesting to see what happens then, and then into a jam-packed day tomorrow where it's going to be match day. So see you again later on tonight, later on this afternoon, sorry, for the presser. Peace.